Hi there, this is Andre welcoming you to a new season of the Marketing Innovation Podcast Show. Our special guest today is Tyler Sullivan, also known as Sully, who is the founder of BombTechGolf, an e-commerce store with over 20 million sold online since 2012. He also runs e-com growers, helping Shopify store owners ramp up their online revenue and profits. Tyler here is hyper-focused on the customer experience and operating a lean business that doesn't just drive revenue, but drives serious profit and cash flow. Today, as we're getting into the frenzy of Black Friday preparations for e-commerce in general, we'll discuss how to best prepare your online store for the upcoming shopping season, as well as email marketing strategies to boost revenue and profits in e-commerce. Without further ado, Tyler, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show, or Sully. How are you? How's the day going?
I'm good, man. Living the dream, drinking some coffee, need some more. I may have to switch to whiskey in preparation for Black Friday, but life is good. We got to update that deck. We're at over 30 million sold. So we're doing, right around, I think our trailing 12 is almost 10 million. At my own brand and the agency, I think we've got 40 clients right around that. So it's been cool to be on both sides and both businesses. I kind of started with no real intention to start them. They kind of found me. And I can kind of go into my founder's story and how I got started, if you like.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, I was about to pick your brains on that, and to actually, help people here understand, as well as me, understand how you started out, and mainly, running an e-commerce back in the day in 2012. That was pretty early, so it will be interesting to hear your story and how you made a start on this.
Probably very different than if someone has started recently. I mean, I started 2012, I was an accidental entrepreneur, so I was just obsessed with golf and trying to hit the golf ball as far as I could. And in doing so, I ended up breaking a lot of golf clubs, right? It wasn't from my pure power or muscles, which I wish it was, but this local club builder was assembling these special clubs for me. And I would go around and try to compete in what they call World Long Drive. It's like the home run derby of golf. And I just did it because it was fun, right? So I had a full-time job. And then in 2012, it was much harder to make a website, let alone a website that you could sell something off. And I just, for some reason, just became obsessed and wanted to learn more and made a really bad website. But after 6 months, which may seem like a long time, but I had no goals of making money with it. It was just for fun. I finally had a sale, and I was on my boat, and it wasn't a yacht, but I was on this boat I had. And I got an email saying, hey, you sold something. And that blew my mind. That was my first epiphany, like, oh my God, I'm not at work. I'm not in front of my computer, but I sold something. So I said, well, how do I do more of that? And really, this is 2012. So it's a very different role, but I just started documenting what I was doing on Facebook, just kind of saying, hey guys, this is what I'm doing today. What kind of clubs do you play? And really having a curiosity and asking my potential customers. And during that process, I grew the following. And I had the crazy idea to design my own golf driver, which is not an easy feat. So I worked with, I actually called one of my buddies. We were just talking about what I was doing. And I had this idea. And he's like, well, you're not that smart. And I said, you're right. I'm not that smart. So I can't design a golf club myself. But I ended up applying for a program at my local college, University of Vermont. And I worked with 4 students and we engineered a golf club for a year. So we actually part of the UVM engineering program, and it was kind of a big risk, but I was confident in the design. I found a manufacturer through a very painful process that took me about 6 months, and cashed in my 401k and made some golf clubs. And during that process, I just was telling people what I was doing, inviting their feedback on Facebook, and that allowed me to build a platform. So when we did launch, we didn't do a ton of sales, but I think we did 10K in a day. And that was, I was like, let's just do more of that. So really, I was just going where the traction was early days. Like if something worked, I'd just try to do more of that. And I think our next inflection point, and there's been many epiphanies over 9 years, but the big one for us was how to scale, right? So like, it was a side hustle. I was doing like 15, 20K a month, which may sound decent, but with your making a product yourself, it means you're broke because you have to pay to make more. So cash flow, it was nothing. And then I had a big moment. I call it go for it moment where I was fired from my day job the week before Thanksgiving, and I just found out my wife was pregnant.
Oh,
So
stressful.
I could not explain how much stress that year was, because she supported me. It was like, hey, if you think you can do it, do it. And she pretty much said, hey, you can make BombTech work or not, and was supporting me. And we had a newborn on the way. And it was tough because I was working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I did that when he was a baby. I was doing all the wrong stuff. I was building clubs myself, shipping them myself, doing everything by myself. And then, I was able that year, out of pure hustle and grind, was able to scale it up enough to pay the bills and not be totally broke. And then next year, we went from like 1 mil to like 4 mil. And we were able to use paid traffic. So we were able to figure out Facebook ads. I hired someone smarter than myself. Now we do, around 10 million, and I only have 2 employees. And I work about 4 hours a week, but it took me 9 years, getting fired from my job, 2 kids, to realize like, I don't have to be in the business now. I can hire people smarter than myself. So I think a lot of my advice and my experience, it depends on where you're at in your own business and what life events you're at and dealing with. So for me, it's, if you talked to me 5 years ago or 6 years ago and said, hey, you can only work 4 hours a week, could you do it? I would say no. So it all worked out. You do a lot of things wrong for a long time, and you figure out what you really need to work on. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm working a lot less and have an agency, which is dual income, and I'm living the dream, man. I'm just trying to find stuff to work on.
Nice, that's a very good problem to have. So you touched on something that I think is really important and is recurring in successful entrepreneurs, and that is burning the boats, whether you intentionally do it or not. So how do you feel burning the boats in that moment when you basically got fired from the job? First mini question would be, was that because of...
boat was burned for me. I mean, my philosophy is really like, if you're in the startup phase and you need an income, work a day job. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, that was just a moment where it was so much pressure, from family side, income or lack thereof at this point, that I just had to make it work. It wasn't like an option. So really, that was just, I'm glad it happened, but at the time it seemed like the worst thing in the world. And I wouldn't advise someone like, hey, you have a startup idea, you're doing some revenue, just go quit. I don't necessarily believe in that, and everyone has their own journey. But for me, it was a lot of these things that have happened were right time and right place just for my journey. I don't know, maybe the business would have never taken off if I wasn't fired. That's what probably would have happened. So yeah, but the immense amount of pressure and then having a kid, I mean, I don't advise to do that. when you're just figuring it out.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned the sort of mini launch that you made for the brand and then discovering paid advertising a bit later down the line. How was your marketing mix when you were small, and what changes did it suffer as you looked at ways to scale it up and when you eventually had that second inflection point?
Yeah, so scaling was very difficult when I first started because Facebook ads really weren't a thing, right? So it was just Google, and I had no real budget to scale at that point because I was just paying for product, and really every effort I did was organic. I was in different like forums. This is before Facebook groups, even Facebook video, I mean, this is old school. This is before the selfie. So a lot of my efforts were like literally posting on Facebook, going into forums, having conversations with people, and a lot of engagement. Like that's really, if I were to describe most of what I was doing, was just having conversations on every platform, email, different groups or different forums, and then on Facebook. And Facebook was really the big one. So I would just ask questions like on our page. And this is like if you had 500 likes, that's 500 people to actually see your stuff. Now we have, I don't know, 123,000 or something, but a good post, maybe 10,000 people see it. So the reach was 100% back then. So I would literally just talk to guys. If anyone commented, and this is a good example, if anyone commented, I would comment back. And we had, when Facebook video first came out, I jumped on it. So like Facebook Live came out, we jumped on it. Facebook video came out, we jumped on it. Ads came out, we jumped. So I was just quick and early on stuff. But the video, I have a video in my backyard where I hit a ball into a net. It sounds like a gun goes off. I hit it so hard. I say, does your driver sound like that? And I boosted it for like $300. And back in the day, that video got 300,000 views, 10,000 comments. And not all the comments were great. Like, we love it, we'll buy the club. But I just saw that as, okay, there's some traction here. People are interested in some way. Let me comment back. And again, a lot of my decisions on what I did weren't driven by revenue and money. It was just driven by traction. And because I didn't have I didn't start the business, say, hey, I'm gonna make $1 million a year. I just did it because I loved it at first, then I had the pressure and had to make it happen. So when that video got 10,000 comments, I just commented on my BlackBerry at the time, if you can imagine that, until my thumbs were like bleeding. Like literally I would comment every comment because I just saw people engaging. And that really was where we started to get like momentum, and then we took those videos and those views and comments and scaled up and just started, I ran all the ads myself, but that's how we went from like 400K all organic to $1 million with Facebook ads. And then I hired someone that actually knew how to retarget, like actually knew like when things were just coming out, he actually knew how to use it. And that's how we went from like $1 million to 4 million, and then we went to 6, and now we're doing like 9 or 10. With the ability to scale those channels, now we do Facebook, Google, we're doing TikTok, different things like that. And then really on top of the front end, we've dialed in the back end. That's really that's what lets me sleep at night, is that all I care about is like, if someone's willing to buy, I want to wow them in such a way that I earn the right to sell to them again. We do things that other people really just, I don't have a lot of secrets here, but in email, post-purchase flows, thank you voicemails, thank you cards, thank you videos, we all do that are tough to scale, but we do it because it's worth it. And we've kind of changed, and the comments was where we're getting our original traction, but now we take that same approach into where we drive most revenue, which is email. So we really look at the back end, like in Klaviyo and PostScript with email and SMS. And we have that same thing where we don't necessarily say, does your driver sound like that? But we'll ask questions we want to know the answer to. Like, hey, we're launching 2 new products in the next 6 months, or we're designing you 2 new products. A or B, which one do you want? And what it does is it does 2 things. It gets people involved in the brand. It gets people engaged. It moves your email to the inbox from promotions tab. And lastly, it gets you an answer you really want to know the answer to. Or question you want answered. A lot of times early on, when I was like having a couple good years where we were crushing it, I thought I knew what the customers wanted, right? And we had a couple launches, or one launch in particular, that didn't crush it because I didn't really know what people wanted. So now we just ask them. So our whole approach is having a 2-way dialogue or 2-way conversation on the channel we can control and the channel that drives revenue the most, which is email. And that allows us to be profitable, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Google, YouTube, connected TV. We could spend more because we know people are going to repeat. We have a higher LTV, and it turns people into brand advocates. So it's a more mature way to look at it. And that's really, at the end of the day, if we were to sell the company or be bought, they're buying our customer list and our email list, which is that's our true asset. And a lot of people look at it as like, I got to drive an ROI for my ad, but then they totally negate email and just blast them overly designed newsletters that get nothing done. So it's a big, I don't know why, but it's just, and that's what birthed the agency. I can go into that story in a minute, but I'll pause there. So that's really like how we look at it. It's 2-way conversations that you actually want to know answers to, that get people to reply and help you learn more about your customers.
Very cool. So this is actually one of the very few discussions with e-store owners that actually took a lot of action in triggering that dialogue post-purchase, because many entrepreneurs know that they should be more active on email, that there are opportunities out there to automate. If we could zone just a little bit into this, and if you could share, I have 2 things that I think would be very relevant to the guys listening to us right now. And one of them is to draw a parallel so we can show through your case study, if you want, the difference that email marketing can make as opposed to if you were not running it. So for example, you have a cost of acquisition, for example, by running Facebook ads, let's say, but then how much you can increase the value of that customer by running very good email marketing campaigns. That'd be one. And if you have some numbers that you could share, I think they would be they would be building on to the argument. And then the second one was, what's your approach to marketing right now? Like, how are your funnels looking like?
Yeah, I mean, so I hate tactics and hacks and things like that. At this point in my life and business and both companies, it's all about mindset and strategies at a high level. So it's like, I can tell you, hey, do this tactic, or, this will reduce your CAC if you do this type of, funnel or flow, but that's not the reality. The reality is you need to have a true, across every department, ads, email, customer service, you need to have a understanding that you're going to actually wow customers and you're going to actually ask real questions on everywhere. But if you just say, hey man, you do this one thing in email, it's going to make a difference, it's not going to matter. So it's a very different approach. So like, the year we did our worst, we tried every hack, tactic, and strategy, and it wasn't an overall high level of view at it. So that's number one, is like the mindset is probably 99% of this is changing how you look at email. Like number one, like because I could tell you, hey, do this. If you do it one time or you don't do the whole mindset shift, it's not going to matter. So it's like you need to truly understand and appreciate what the inbox is and try to be native to it. So like, if you want to get into like how we execute that, and from a tactic standpoint, is we write a lot of plain text emails that are like you would send me. Like if you get an email from your buddy or you send an email, do you write it in HTML and make it look pretty in a newsletter? No, you send in text like, yo, what's up, man? What are you doing Friday? So we do the same thing that's native to that platform. So that's a mind shift thing. It's like, if you want it to look pretty, absolutely, we can do that for you. But a lot of it is getting out of that, oh, this has to be on brand, look pretty, to like, all right, what's native to the platform? So we'll throw in, question emails that are one line. Hey, Mike, what drive are you playing right now? Oh, and they just reply, hey, I'm playing this, and we get feedback, and that gives us data. Then we have my in-house guys. This is what I'm saying, full mind shift. Now my in-house guys that are paid well, my customer service guys, they then will have a started conversation with these guys. So we're having an ongoing conversation for years. So like we've got guys like Jim or Mike or Bob, whoever it is, that have bought from us in 2014, that now they've actually had probably 400 email conversations with our guys in-house. We're like, hey man, I played this weekend. Awesome course. And then our guys are like, what'd you shoot? So like literally just building these relationships at scale that no one wants to mess with. So I think that's the hardest part, is like completely shifting from like emails a revenue source only. I want money, 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 money. I'm going to blast bullshit at them, or overly designed garbage, to a like, all right, this is a real channel. I'm going to have real conversations and build something from that. Right. So like plain text makes it more native. And then really the other one is just, we do ask for replies for like early access. So I think I don't want to go too down the rabbit hole of like this tactic thing, because again, if you miss the first part, it doesn't matter. But we'll ask for replies like, hey, do you want to early, like just be really casual, like, hey, we're launching a new club, in 15 days. This is what it's going to be. Do you want to get early access? Click reply boom, with one word boom, for early access. So then we tag them that they replied. Now we're guaranteed to be in inbox or have a better chance to see that email. And it just engages. So again, this is like small tactics you can do. I can go into a million more tactics we use, but if you nail the strategy of why the channel is important and why you should give a shit, you'll be better off. And really think of it as like, if Facebook ads died, if Google ads died, would you be able to survive and sell through your inventory and continue to run the business? I would say probably 85 to 90% of clients that we look at their accounts, it would be a no, because if they were to say, hey, if that was the only channel you had, could you survive? And they couldn't, because they've just been blasting crap and they need new customers to survive. We all want to grow, but if you couldn't grow, that's the exercise I ask, is like, could you sustain and at what level? So that's how we treat it. And we really change that perspective, and then the second one that's really easy too, is just like, you should be emailing more. And if you're emailing stuff they care about, emailing more will be good. But if you're emailing more about stuff they don't care about, you're screwed. So it's like, so it's, that's why I hate like tactics, hacks, because if it's just one siloed hack or tactic, which I've tried all of them, it doesn't work without the high level strategy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you think, or do you feel anything has changed no, actually, probably macro would not be the best angle to put the question from right now. But in your niche, and taking the case of what you were doing before COVID, and then looking at, let's say, the last Black Friday, and now the upcoming one. So in this sort of year period, because we are getting close to this, so I'm curious to see what your position is and what you feel has been dramatically changed since.
What has changed from last year with Black Friday?
Yes, I mean, from before the pandemic and then going to Black Friday last year and now preparing for the next one coming this year.
I mean, last year is going to be hopefully the only year like that. It was a weird year overall because, I mean, COVID, I felt weird personally because golf is up, e-commerce is crushing. So to be doing better than ever when seeing so many people suffer and have a tough time was hard for me personally to be okay with. I think from other clients and brands, I think Black Friday is going to be massive. I mean, it's always big, but e-com has fast forwarded 15 years or 10 years with what happened with COVID. People that wouldn't have shopped online are obviously shopping more online than ever before. We'll see how COVID's doing, because if we're, I think people are just dying to do anything with friends and are doing stuff, and getting out there. So we'll see how that is. But I think Black Friday is going to be big, and really preparation's already begun. If you're not engaging, asking questions, and just having real conversations with your list, you're screwed. It's already going to be too late. So really, we're not necessarily my own brand, a massive Q4 brand. Like our summers are Q4. Personally with golf, I mean, you can't even get clubs made for a year now. The lead times are so long, and with shipping, I think that's going to be one of the true challenges, is have brands stocked up enough, because that has been one thing out of our control, is the inbound shipping. No matter where you're getting stuff made, if you're shipping it, it's just been brutal. Normal shipping times were 30 days for us. Now they're 90. So I already ordered everything for all of next year and have everything in stock for all of next year. For the most part, I got a couple more shipments. And I think people that weren't willing to do that and invest, throw down that cash flow, are going to have a tough time and sell out too quick. But I think it's going to be big. I mean, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is always our most fun time at the agency, because for almost, I'd say 90% of our clients, this is their peak season. This is the go time. So I think a lot of people are going to launch promos super early. I think best campaigns or best brands, or brands that do the best, typically launch something new alongside, discounts. I've always personally struggled with this time of year, because it's like, how hard do you want to push a deal? And then people will don't want to buy unless that deal still exists. So we try to run a very tight window how big the deals are, and say to ourselves, okay, would we be okay selling this deal any time of year? That's like my litmus test. And if I'm not willing to sell it any time of year, I really shouldn't be doing a Black Friday, because it means the margins aren't right, or it's not a deal, because you may get stuck if you go too hard, because people be like, hey, I want it at that price. And we always honor those prices no matter what. So that's just one thing I'm wary of. But yeah, it's a fun time. And I usually, like I said, launches and new launches during Black Friday, Cyber Monday is a good way to sidestep pure deals. So like for us, we'll launch 2 new products or 2 back in stock products that are sold out. And those will do well because there's pent up demand, versus just be like, hey, 50% off, good luck. Because everyone's saying that, you know what I mean? So that's one way to get around it.
Question here. Let's say, because you mentioned the agency and you work with a variety of e-commerce stores already, mostly Shopify, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Let's probably not all of them have a big database that they can leverage in advertising through the year and including Black Friday. What are some of the top strategies that you feel are suitable for small, maybe niche online stores that are looking to scale and maybe to prepare for Black Friday? So kind of those list building activities that they can still run, preparing themselves for the period when they will be able to deploy something on email.
I mean, we don't change strategies. Like, again, I literally work 2 to 3 hours a week on my ecom brand because we have set plans and strategies for the whole year. We're not testing new shit just because it's almost Q4. I mean, you should be running paid traffic profitably and well already before Black Friday and gathering emails. So, I mean, this would be any time of year. We want to make sure the pop-ups are dialed in. I mean, that's the biggest one. So you only have 2 real buckets, in my opinion. You've got customers, so guys that have bought product from you, and then you got people that have abandoned, and you need to get that email. So for us, you know, the first thing we do with a new client is we optimize their pop-up. You know, if you want to go down the hacks, tactics, strategies of like, hey, let's do giveaways and let's do this stuff to build up our list in an artificial way for Black Friday, I think it's a miss. I think it's going to be a lot of bullshit emails that don't buy. Whereas we just do it all day, every day, and don't have to pivot because we're doing it properly. So right now we have an email pop-up that gets like 17%. And so that pop-up, the whole goal is to build that list evergreen every day, all year. So when Black Friday comes, we're not like, oh shit, we didn't have enough emails. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big mistake. And if you're smaller, it's all fundamentals, man. E-com's not complicated. It's traffic, it's email, and really we have like CRO, SEO, and these other things, but you got to be able to drive traffic, and then you got to be able to monetize the back end and increase repeat, you know, and that's really it. That's stuff you should be doing all year. If you're scrambling to do stuff new and different now, it's going to be, I think you're going to struggle. So I would take a step back and say, hey, what can we do to optimize our pop-up to get more email or more SMS now, whether it's Black Friday this year, Black Friday next year, or any day? You know what I mean? It shouldn't be a special thing for Black Friday.
Okay. However, so I know you don't like this, and I'm not trying to push the idea of only hacks and tips and strategies and tips, tricks and whatever.
I could just say that.
I'm just trying to, because I saw this in a couple of conversations that I personally had as well with some of our clients or potential clients lately. Many people were kind of not switched off during the summer, but didn't really push things forward as much as they should have, and they kind of left them on the side. It was a bit of an insecurity in the market too, and people really wanted the holiday, so everything kind of slowed down a bit with the smaller shops and stuff. And now, as you know, the autumn comes and then winter and Christmas as well, even though it's not the best case scenario, everybody tries to push things a bit stronger forward. So that's basically where I'm trying to get to as well in our conversation, to maybe try to put together a list of like maybe 3 or 5 things that somebody that maybe has left these for last minute can still do and still make a step forward in that direction. Although a long-term strategy is definitely the way that they should be approaching this.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I'm not negating strategies in time of year. You know, if they've been just taking the summer off and weren't doing it right, I believe you should have it set up so you can take the summer off and do it well. But that's neither here or there. But no, I mean, really, it's can you drive traffic profitably, and can you hype well? You know, like so from a things to do if you're sitting on your hands saying, oh shit, Black Friday's coming. You know, is my pop-up dialed in? Meaning, can I get more opt-ins? Yes or no? If it's under 15%, probably most people are like 5%. Yes, you can do more. So dial in your email pop-up to get more for people that are not buying. Number 2, post-purchase, anyone that is buying, do they actually like you? And are you doing a good job, you know, wowing them? So that's more of a customer service deep dive of like, what is your Help Scout rating or whatever Zendesk rating? Because if people are not happy, you're not delivering on time, they're not happy with the product, happy customer service, you're gonna have a tough Black Friday from that segment. So I would audit that and say, hey, you know, how are our actual customers? What's a repeat order rate? Do they like us? Lifetime value, all that stuff. And then really the last part would just be planning the offers. So like if you were deciding Black Friday, Cyber Monday is going to be our big push, 95% outside of engaging the list, getting more emails on the list and hyping them, like telling people it's coming, that's most of it. But then it's the offer itself. And this is a hard one to, really dial in because it's dependent on the brand, it's dependent on inventory, it's dependent on what the normal deals are. But we've found special bundles typically do well. So like, and I mean offers, instead of like saying you got a best-selling, I don't know, dog toy, whatever, instead of saying, hey, this dog toy is only $20, but for Black Friday it's 10, you're gonna have to sell twice as many of those to make up for that margin. What I'd rather see is more time as the founder saying, hey, we have this one product that does well, and maybe we've got 2 other products that don't do well. Let's make a Black Friday bundle and bring them all together if inventory can do that. And now our AOV, instead of, let's say its average order was $20 per item, now it's 60. Then the perceived value when you drop it to 40 may be higher, you know what I mean? And now your AOV's up. So I think the power of the offer, whether that's bundling, discounting, I usually go new launch or bundle typically instead of just massive discount, is the make or break, and really we try to hype, and I can't give all my strategies away, hype with email and SMS saying stuff is coming, so they're getting ready for it. And we run ads at full price or normal discounts and hold it back, and we don't do a lot of this because we're not a big Black Friday company, but typically we'll hold that offer. So when they do see it, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? But I would encourage people, you have to do your fundamentals, which is build the list, build your customers, make sure they're happy, and then just work on your offer, which is what you should be doing all year anyways. I know that's my thesis, I guess, today. But because if you don't have an offer that's like really exciting, dude, it's going to be tough to stand out that day, that week, that month, because everyone's going as big and deep as they can,
Great points. And another thing, you mentioned you will tell us a bit about your agency and how that came about. So let's zoom into that a bit. And what's the story behind it?
Yeah, so another accidental entrepreneurship moment. So like BombTech was doing really well. This was year 6 or something. And I had a number of articles come out, like 𝐂𝐬𝐿 did a case study on us, BigCommerce, Inc. magazine, like a couple of relevant, like really relevant to ecom. And people started messaging me on like Facebook, LinkedIn, like, hey man, I saw that you were killing it with your own ecom brand. Do you want to help us? I said, no, absolutely not. I can't help you. It's too complicated. And I didn't have the time, and I had a young kid. And I was like, dude, no. And then I thought about it, and I just kept on getting, it was almost relentless with these messages of people wanting to help or wanting me to help their brand. I was like, I don't know if I can help. And really for me, anything I ever would do needed to be tangible. I wouldn't be like, hey, I'll do consulting, just help you on a phone. I was like, it has to be tangible. So my number one employee, or my first employee, not my number one, my first employee, Chris, who was my, he'd been with me now for 4 or 5 years. He was running all my email with 𝐂𝐬𝐿 and all the technical stuff. I would help him with the offers and the copy and stuff. He's like, hey, and he was a unique guy. He was working like 80 hours a week on his own regard. He would text me like 2 a.m, leaving the bars, like, hey man, have you seen the conversion rate? I'd be like, dude, go to bed. So he's like, hey, do you mind if I, as a side hustle, help these brands, see if I can help them specifically with one thing, which is email, and drive more revenue? I said, dude, I want nothing more in life than to support you. So if you want to do this on the side, I'll do whatever I can do to help you. Let me know. So he closed 3 of the deals 3 of the brands that were interested talking to me. And I said, let me know how it goes in 30 days. I go, it can't impact your day-to-day work. Let me know. So 30 days go by. I go, what's up? How'd it go? He goes, well, I doubled their revenue from email. I go, oh, that's good. What do you want to do? And he goes, I want to do more of that. So we essentially sat down, had a couple of beers and said, how are we going to make this happen? And so we literally wrote out his transition plan from BombTech, how someone would, take it over, or how we would do that, and then how we would build the agency. And so that was 3.5 years ago. And, now he really runs that company, Ecom Growers. I'm more of a silent partner in the fact that I just help him with systems, operations, and getting him the right people. And that's really all I do. And he does all the fulfillment, manages the team. So we have a lot of like high level strategy conversations of like, what do we need from a company standpoint? But we've gone through many evolutions, but now we hover between like 30 and 40 clients. We work specifically with e-com brands doing between 1 and like 30 million a year. Most of our brands are doing like 7 to 10. And we run all their email and SMS now. So we do, what we do is someone that's interested, we'll do a full audit. So we'll go jump into it. We only do Klaviyo and PostScript. We'll jump in because we're a platinum agency. We're like top 4 or something. I don't know what it is in terms of revenue managed. We'll jump in and just audit their account, see what they're doing, and we'll literally give them a roadmap. Hey, you don't have to hire us, but if you were to, this is exactly what we would do. You can do it yourself, or you can hire us to do it. And we take the same, strategies that we use in our own, in BombTech and use them for everyone else. It's obviously custom and tailored for everyone. And it's been pretty cool, because that was totally not something I anticipated happening. And now that's doing over 7 figures. So we got an 8-figure e-com brand, 7-figure agency. And I'm excited to scale that up. Very different battle running an agency because you have a lot more humans involved. Because it's a service type of industry. So we've done a lot. Now we have full healthcare, we've increased our salaries, we have bonuses, a lot has changed. So it's cool to have another company that's growing, and it's cool to be right in the same niche. So again, I'm not one to be like, hey, leggings are trending, let me go sell leggings. Like I know shit about leggings, do what you love and see opportunities when they come. And I just told them like, hey, I'll help you in these very specific silos of operations and strategy, but you're the one in the day-to-day. And it's worked out great. And he's making, 10x what I used to pay him. And he's running his own company, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I am pretty removed from day-to-day stuff. So that's why I don't get deep in the weeds, because it's like I just have the right people to ping the things off, because I'm not that smart anymore. I'm just a dumb owner is my joke,
Very nice adventure there. Yeah, man, you did quite a few very interesting things and notable. What's coming up for you right now? Like, where are you focusing on? What do you want to scale faster? Maybe release? Anything that our audience can look into that you'd like them to to find?
Yeah. No, I mean, personally, I've just been trying to enjoy life more. I've got 2 young kids. So like when I had my second kid.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, they're 7 and 4 now. I was like, I can't live like that. So when I had my second child, I was able to truly, and this was for me, like one of my things I'm passionate about. I don't do anything, like I don't monetize this, but I'm passionate about helping founders, and mostly my co-founder, Chris, get out of the day-to-day so he can live his life. Because it took me, I think, too long to get out of the day-to-day. It took me, I don't know how many years, but now I'm truly an owner that has no levers to pull, because I have all the right people. So I'm personally passionate about that. I haven't monetized it, turned into anything, but it's just like, I like when I see founders get out of their own way and actually become an owner so you can live your life, which is really hard. But from most of my time, I spend with my family or trying to help Chris grow the agency. So if there's any e-com brands that are looking to prep for Black Friday or just want an audit of their Klaviyo account, we'd love to do it at ecomgrowers.com. I mean, that's really our biggest, opportunity to grow. BombTech is well optimized and scaling, and we'll see what happens with that. You may be hearing some news soon. We'll see. But so life's good, man. So whatever I can do to help, and if they want to reach out to me directly, LinkedIn, Tyler, Sully, Sullivan, and I'll probably just say, hey, I can't talk. Message my assistant because I don't like to work anymore. Kidding, but hopefully I'm dropping some value. And I think it's a hard thing to go from a hustler every day to an owner, and I think everyone's got to go through their own journey. And I'm just an old man, I'm 9 years deep, 2 companies, and 2 kids. So it's everyone's at their own journey. So I hope whatever they're doing, they enjoy it.
Very nicely said. So guys, for you tuning in today, first of all, thank you for sticking all the way until almost the end right now. Sully, thanks a lot for the insights. I think they were very valuable and practical, which I really loved about them. And definitely we'll have links to your platforms in the description of the episode. So guys, if you feel that Sully could help out on your email marketing strategy and the way that you are thinking about the channel, specifically if you have a 𝐒𝐲𝐵 account, then definitely reach out. Same if you feel there's anything in this episode that we touched upon and maybe you'd like to find out more information, you can also, either if it's directed to Sully, then feel free to get in touch. If it's directed to us or something that we could maybe organize together at a later stage, then definitely write us and we'll be happy to see what we can do to best deliver towards that direction. But yes, until next time, Sully, this was a very big pleasure to have you here. Very happy to hear that everything is going well and excited to hear maybe the announcement soon.
We'll see. One day at a time. I have a lot of secrets, but I appreciate you having me. Hopefully some value, not to get too deep in the tactics and hacks, but I think mind shift is big, man. It's like you get so deep in the weeds in the computer, into the Shopify backend doing the stuff that it's hard to see what's really a bigger lever to pull. And I think that comes through time, but if you're a founder and owner still in the day-to-day in your computer, I think there's bigger levers you can pull that will drive more revenue, grow faster just by, hiring the right people and getting out of the way, kind of. So hopefully some value.
Great stuff, definitely. This was a very nice chat. And until next time, wishing you all the very best. Thank you again for being on the show and looking forward to catching up soon.
See you guys.